Hi, so we will now create our first web application using the framework. What we're going to create is a very simple contact management system, and it's going to have just two concepts: a contact and a group. So it's basically for you to maintain a address book and then group your contacts into friends, family, etc. So let's go ahead and create the system. So I'll open the browser. That's it, and I'll created a test account on my local system. So I'll just log in. So I've logged in as administrator, and I can see that right in the toolbar. So this is just a basic standard opening framework opening screen, and you have toolbars, you have the home, you have system, you have some masters. You can just browse through this. So let's create a new doc type. So I can go to new, and then I can select doc type. So let us first create the groups doc type, right? So just to briefly show the features of a doc type. So you have options where you can set the module, you can set a naming system for the records, you can set whether you want title case, uppercase. Some features which as we go and use the system will be more useful. So you can set permissions. We'll come back to it. You can define fields of a doc type, and then you can write client-side scripts and server-side scripts. Right. So since you're making the group doc type, let's just create a very simple group table with just a group name and some description. So we have defined the labels. Now we can define the data types. So group name is, so you have different data types. The data is just a simple text box. Then you have select, which is like a drop down. You have a text, which is slightly more, you can put some more text into the box. And then you have links, integers, date, time, etc. You also have some UI related fields like section break, column break, which will help you design the form. You can have buttons, you can have code, HTML, etc. So let's just call group name as data. Let's just let's set description as text. So now I'll go ahead and save it. So yeah, I need to put in a module. So all fields in red are mandatory. So it asks me to select a module. So I can click on the search bar and then let me see. So the system has two standard modules. I'll just use the test module and I'll save it. It's asked me for a name, so I say I want to call it a group. So there you go, we have saved the group. Now I also want the group to be the group name to be the ID by which the group will be known, right? So I'll just I'll go to the auto name and I'll say field and group name. Yeah. Now when you go back to the fields, now we see that the field names have been given. So the framework automatically takes the labels and gives the field names, and it makes it more code friendly names. So I'll go ahead and save the group again. Right. So I've created the group doc type. Now I'll go ahead and create the content, the contact doc type. So I'll go to new, create a new doc type. Test is my module. I can put permissions. I can give roles. Yeah, I will just give permissions for now. So let's define the field. So you want a first name, you want a last name, you want a phone number, you want email ID, we want to have some comments, right? So we just call this data, we call this data, we call this data, we can have email also as data, and then comments as text. So let's go ahead and save this. So we call it contact. So there I go, all the field names have automatically come, and the database is going to have created a table named contact. So let's again, so let's set permissions now. So to set permissions, we need to create roles. To create a new role, I just go to new and I select role. Yeah, again I need to select the module, which I'm going to say test, and I'm going to call this role as contact user. So I'm going to assign all users with this role so that they can access the contact management system. So there we go, the contact user is. Yeah, hi. We'll start by creating a profile who can access our contact management system. So I'll just go ahead and create a new profile. We don't want to escalate it to anybody. We don't want to send an email invite. So we just want to call this profile as a test user. And we give it an email ID, test.com. Just going to say save. Okay, so that's saved. Now we can assign roles to this user. So when I go to roles, I can add a row. I can select a role. Contact user is what we created. Select contact user and then done. Then we save it. Okay, so now we have created the profile. Now we go back and set the permissions to the groups and the contacts. So how to search for the doc type? So you go to top right, you search for doc type. Doc type, you type first few letters, you get groups. So now we go to the permissions tab. Here here you have a place where you can assign the role. So here we select for a role. So we have the contact user role here, and then we just give the right permission, create permission to this user, and we save the group. Similarly, we give the permissions to the contact. So we will search for a contact, select the contact, set the permissions, contact user, there we go. So now we are set with the basic system. We still have, if you remember, we had set the contact name to be the group name, but the group ID to be the name. But for the contact, we would like the first name and the last name to be the ID of the contact. So what we'll go and do is we'll write a small script for that. So we go to the script part, and then we declare a class. Now all classes must have the same constructor, which is standard Python constructor, and we just call it class doc type. It doesn't matter which class you're writing into. Then we pass we'll pass these two variables. We'll assign it to the class. We'll declare a function called autoname. Now this function will be called when the user saves the contact. So what we'll say is self.doc.name. So self.doc is the current record. It's a reference to the current record, and name is the ID. So in the framework, this is one of the quirks, that the ID is actually called the name. So self.doc.name equals first name. So we made two fields, like first name and last name. And put a space, last name. So whenever it wants to create a contact record, the ID will be first name space last name. So let us just check the spelling. It's first name, it's last name. That's it. So we'll go ahead and save this. So now we can log in from our test user and see if the test user. Yeah, so before we log off and log in as the test user, there is one more thing we didn't do, is we didn't link the contact to the group. So let me open the contact doc tab, which I can also open from my recent documents. I'll add another field, first name, last name, and then I'll insert the group. Right. Now I want this group to be linked to groups, right? So I'll just say group, I'll call it type link, which makes it a foreign key, and then I need to give the type to which it should link. So a group is a field that should link to the groups. So it created the name, and now we log out and log in as a test user.